All right, folks, buckle up because it looks like the AI revolution is about to hit Hollywood in a very hard way. Lionsgate, the studio that brought us John Wick, Saw, The Expendables, and a whole bunch of other stuff out there, including Hunger Games, just struck a deal with an AI research company called Runway. Now, before you start imagining a world where robots are making John Wick 5, let's dive into actually what this could mean and why fans and CGI artists might be sweating it a little right now, and they should be. In a recent article that I found over on Fandom Wire, which I don't usually visit very often, I found something fascinating. This particular article saying we need to get out of this timeline. After multiple flop movies, Lionsgate's deal with AI firm Runway is the future for TV and movie projects. And according to them, it's just what we feared. I have a slightly more nuanced take, of course, and I think we should just, fire right on into it. So, Lionsgate has been in the game for a long time. They've had success and failures just like every other studio. We got the John Wick franchise out of the deal, which is doing pretty well and is making them quite a bit of cash. But lately, especially lately, things haven't been going so great. Case in point, of course, is the Crow remake. And while that really wasn't their film, they just bought it. It kind of seems like they wasted an opportunity with Bill Skarsgård. If only somebody had stopped making that film 12 years ago, we'd be better off. Regardless, it ended up being a waste to the tune of $25 million between the purchase and marketing. And there's no way I think they'll ever recover that. And then you've got Kevin Hart's Borderlands movie, which, let's just say, crashed harder than the Expendables cast trying to keep up with their own stunts. And look, I pay very close attention to the way these films perform when they get to the box office, knowing full well what I'm going to expect. And I knew Borderlands was going to be a disaster. The film literally sat on a shelf for 2 years between the two directors that both worked on it, with the second director basically reshooting most, if not nearly all, of the entire film. And it didn't help that the characters, they didn't resemble the video game characters at all. It was terribly disappointing, despite the aesthetic overall being, well, just about right. So now we get to the solution, right? And what's Lionsgate's solution here? Well, AI. Yeah, they struck a deal with an AI research company that I've been hearing about for a while called Runway. And while they're not outright saying, hey, we're about to fire all the CGI artists, the timing is a little, well, let's just say if I were in visual effects at the moment, I might be polishing my resume, at least if most of my work was coming out of Lionsgate. But Lionsgate, to their credit, has been looking for solutions for this bomb factory problem that they have. And apparently they think AI is their solution to the sinking ship that they have at the box office right now. And let me tell you, their boat is sinking, much like the very beginning of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where Johnny Depp is literally stepping onto the dock from the tallest mast on his now sunk ship. Runway's AI tools are unique. They're supposed to help streamline some of the creative process. That's really where they're trying to focus, so they say. But we all know where it leads. Less human creativity, more machines filling in the gaps. And hey, truly, if this is used in the way that is described, this may not be the worst thing that could happen, because it basically handles a lot of previs where you don't really need the talents of somebody like a specialty CGI artist. You just kind of need a rough breakdown to figure out if you're going to need that scene in the film at all, or if you need a whole lot of other scenes to fix what you've got going on during your second or third act. And believe me, a lot of these Lionsgate films could have used that kind of help so that they avoided some of the plot problems and pacing problems that they ended up with. Some people might look at this as like a band-aid or a fix, but as I've mentioned before, there's always the next step, which is to get rid of those talented people in the CGI and digital effects markets, which I think would be sad, tragic, and a great loss. So that set me to scratching my head. I mean, what do you think? Do you think AI is going to be the savior of Hollywood? Or is it going to actually push out all the real artists I was just mentioning that really do make some of the most amazing magic most of the time? Maybe John Wick versus the machines is kind of the future that we're looking at. I mean, drop a comment below if you are ready to see robots in the director's chair, or if this thing has you worried about the future of creativity in film, or maybe just the film industry in its entirety. Because, I mean, we've been moving a lot closer to people like myself being able to create an entire film just with utilizing these AI tools. And they just keep getting better, faster. They are exponentially growing at a speed that I could not have imagined, and neither did the movie industry, and certainly none of the unions were paying attention there either. Of course, here's the thing. As much as the studios like this idea, and Lionsgate is embracing AI as a cutting edge solution for this, it's definitely going to cut costs, but there's something to be said for the human eye and our ability to fill in the gaps. One of the things that AI is seemingly lacking is that ability to fill in some parts and not be so literal about certain situations. One of the things that AIs get criticized for is their ability not to be able to fill in the gaps and not to be so creative when looking for nonlinear solutions. Because once again, it's just like a fancy autocorrect on your phone or word predictive text or anything similar. It does that same thing visually. It needs some more refinement there, but it can't replace humans, right? And we've seen what happens when CGI is overused, like things like the Scorpion King, which was ridiculous. Now, that was a long time ago, and that CGI was absolutely terrible with PS1 level graphics. But we've also seen some modern CGI look equally as bad. And I think a lot of us are kind of worried that we're going backwards. And with that in mind, imagine entire films crafted by AI, as I mentioned before. While we can do that, and I probably will try, should we? Because everything will start looking like the redone scenes from the last Justice League, where the actor had a mustache, but Superman didn't. And boy, did that look weird. But with this approach, doing all the previs and everything else to kind of fill in the gaps so that you have a good movie at the end of the day, will this just make films faster? Will we get better films? Will we get more films? That's quite possible. We can get more with less. More films with less people. I'm not sure that's a good trade off. But again, do we really need a world where every blockbuster film, every tentpole looks like a low budget PS3 cutscene? I mean, we've seen enough of those in the gaming industry already. No offense, of course, to PS3. It was a fine console and did an awful lot with, well, not as much as we have now. And the stuff we have now is really under delivering. Or is it the creatives? Look, I'm not going to downplay the dangers here. The danger of AI is very real, especially to humanity, especially to human jobs. But at the same time, if used appropriately, maybe it is a good tool. I didn't sound so certain about that, did I? But hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe AI will take filmmaking to new heights, and maybe we'll all be blown away. But I have to ask you, what do you think? Is AI going to ruin creativity, or will it unlock something amazing, something we couldn't have imagined? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, of course, and what your predictions are for the future of Hollywood and CGI in general. And of course, if you have any other thoughts around Runway, a little bit more than I do, let me know those things down in the comment section below, of course. Because at the end of the day, Lionsgate is going to be rolling the dice on AI to get back on top, or at least, catch up. Will it work? Nah, obviously, only time will tell there. But if future of cinema is endless AI-generated expendable sequels, we might be all in for a very weird, wild ride. Of course, maybe able to help us avoid absolute car crashes like Borderlands, The Crow, and so many other things that came out this last year. Regardless, the future of film is always going to be very real artificially. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others. Double check that you've clicked the thumbs up button, that like thing helps me a lot, and double check that you're still subscribed to the channel. And if you're here for the first time or the 1,000th, let this be the time that I earn your subscription. I'm working hard, trying to give you as much content as possible, keep you informed and entertained. And hey, I throw in a bunch of live entertainment there as well. So Help me out. Like to get to 50K? Would appreciate it. And until next time, see ya.